So today, this is our advanced class. We're going to do just a little bit of review and then get into primarily indexing and sourcing. So let's go. We have what we call the big five records, used 92% of the time. And there's the 5 internet sites that are online. We're lucky to have all 5 of them there. Ancestry is the oldest. It has the older records. Rick's Archivet is one that I really like to use. It's free, and it is, the vital records are indexed according to year, which is really good. Archive Digital, you'll be seeing, we'll be using the indexes for household records on Archive Digital. It's excellent. It's not free, except at the Family History Center, it is free. So, but it's a very good site. MyHeritage is a partner with Archive Digital. They've got the same records pretty much. I just don't use it because I use Archive Digital. It's pretty much the same. And then Family Search has digitized records and some indexes. We'll be looking at that one. Okay, so, well, here there's the vital records indexed. So when you start, if you don't want to start back here. You want to start with your first immigrant ancestor. 2 reasons. One is because even if it was done by the very best genealogist there was and put on the Family Search, it could be wrong because people go in and change things. So this way you're going to be able to see whether it's right or wrong. The other thing is that it's given you practice. As you start with the ones that are in the 1800s, they're much easier to read than the ones in the 1600s. So that's a good reason to begin. So then you first search in Rick's Archivet. You must have a name, place, date to start. No use trying to find Johan Anderson in Sweden sometime in 1890, somewhere in Sweden. Just won't work. Okay, so when you're trying to get into Rick's Archivet, it's tricky sometimes at first because Google shows you the paid site first. It doesn't show you the free site, which Rick's Archivet is. So look for this Digitala for Scholars Song. And also the Rick's Archivet is a museum as well as a database. So you might end up getting into the museum instead of the database, but just keep trying, it's worth it. And so then once you get in, right up at the top, you can switch to English if you want to, and then you're going to go into the church archives. And when you do, you'll get a page like this. Here we have Karl Skogge. You click on it. You get your birth deaths. You click on that. And there you go. Whoops, I went too fast. And there you get your years. So it's really simple to get those years, but it's sure a big help. Okay, and so there's my grandmother's page. So then they've got a good way also of adding sources. Here she is. And you look down pretty close to the bottom. It says link, which is link. And you're going to click on it right down here. Here it shows it big. Actually, there'll be a little tiny white box that'll appear when you click over here, and you just click on that and it'll copy it automatically. Or you can just copy it. And then this is what you get. You could use it on your own sources in Family Search, just wherever, but that gives you a link to the exact page that you were on, which is, of course, very helpful and very fast. Okay, now we're going to look at some indexes to help you find those. And these all have hints for births, deaths, marriages, and household records. But watch out. Okay, I'm going to use Sarah Monsdaughter as an example of how you would use these records. First, look right over here. These are your little research helps. This says Sarah Monsdaughter is in this place, and she has church records, and that just tells you the whole thing. It doesn't give you specific dates. But church records usually means births, deaths, or marriages, usually births. And so you can click on there. And when you do, you get this record. And it's the indexed record that they have done for her. You can't see it very well, but if you click up here with view record, it gives you can see it better here. And then you always want to go to the original document, because just because it's the indexers generally do a pretty good job, but not always. And so you always want to look at the original. Here, this is easy because it's right there. And so here we have Sarah Monsdaughter, her place. She's baptized the 15th of May and so forth. Okay, and then you decide, okay, is this correct? And we decided that it was, and it gives it her parents. It doesn't give the last names in this particular record, but you still want to attach it to the tree. So you could go ahead and do that. That's fairly easy. You attach just like you do US records. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at, let me see, did I go to nice story? Okay. Look at the original document. Okay, there we're attaching it. Okay, we're going to look at another one now. And okay, so even though you find something good, take the time to look it up take the time to look up the birth record in the Riksarkivet, even if you find that then you know for sure whether the index is correct. Okay, let's look now at some of the hints for household records. So here we have Maria Jonsdottir. Notice over here, it tells you here, there's a hint for a household examination record. And so you could just click on there. There you could view the record.
So this is right in Family Search?
This is, yes, this is a Family Search that we're finding these. So these are good hints, generally speaking. They're much better now than they used to be. I used to never look at family search hints because half the time they were wrong. But they've changed their algorithms enough that you're pretty much gonna get them right. Not 100%. You gotta be still very, very careful to look at the original record. But they are a lot better. So here, this is the original record. And there, oh, let's see, we find Maria Young's daughter, who is our ancestor now. I didn't show you before when we looked for her, but she was married to another person to start with. And here, when we look at the hint, her birth date is the same, her birthplace is the same, but there's a different husband. So then you just have to decide, is it going to be, are there two Maria Young's daughters? That's a very common name. Or does she have another husband? And so here we're looking here at this one. Now, that's some of the things that you can find on Family Search. And I like to look at Family Search first, and also if somebody else has put sources up, look at those sources and see if it works. And then we're going to look at some of these other indexes here. First, Archive Digital. When you open up Archive Digital, this is what you'll see. It tells you to start by searching, by doing this index search. So we click on it, and there you're getting a big page. Make sure that right here where it says select index source to search in, make sure that it says this, BIS, population of Sweden. It's got these other ones as well, but this is the one you'll use most of the time. Okay, and then here we've got, this is to show that you should use the advanced search. It doesn't show very well. Okay, so this is what we know about Maria John's daughter. We know this to start with. We know she was born 2nd of February 1850 in Skällsbo, Nisen, Örebro, Sweden. This is the small place, the parish, the land, and of course Sweden. We know her parents are Jonas Johnson and Lisa, and her spouse is John Erickson. Does she have another spouse? That's the question. So here we are. We're in the advanced search. You just scroll down to get to the advanced search. And less is more. So don't put in too much. Put in her name, first name. I don't ever like to put in the last name, because if they're listed as a child, they won't have a last name, and so you'd miss those records. I like to use the advanced birth if you can. If you're back into the places where sometimes they don't have the exact birth, then you use the birth year from it too. But in the 1800s, you're pretty safe to use an advanced exact birth one. And then we put the parish in, because Maria is quite a common name. So here is what you get. Lots of Marias. Okay, are they all Maria? Are they all the same Maria? Are they two Marias who have the same birth date, who live in the same parish? So that's the question. So you just have to start looking. Okay, so first notice And notice here's your time span. So this is the household record. It's going to take in the period of 1827 to 31 for these two. Here 31 to 36, 36 to 40, and so forth. And notice that she's moving around a bit when they're in two different places, and you don't know which one is which she went to first or second, but you do just know that it's there. So notice that you don't have a last name here, which probably means that that's her as a child. So this is a good one to check to see if the parents that we have in Family Search are her parents. And so we'll check that one. And when we do, this is what we get. We get Jonas Johnson and Lisa Jacobson, which were her parents. And here's Maria, and here's the sister Anna. Always you want to look at the original record. And the original record is always under these sources right here. So there we have her original record as a child. Here's the father, the mother, and Maria and her daughter. The birth date matches. And look carefully at these records whenever you get them, because if you look down here, notice what it says. Anybody know who this is? Okay, for eldrar means parents.
Oh, so we go back.
Let's see, I need to get back. Okay, so for eldrar means parents. So here we have Jonas Olofsson and Maria Johnsdotter, who are the parents of Jonas. They are always listed as the relationship is always listed to the head of the household. So when it says their parents, it means they're his parents and not hers. So always check a little bit on the pages, because you never know what you're going to find as far as relationships go. Okay, so then we find also over to the side, if we go clear over to the side, here we find this is moving out, the year, this is the place she's going to, and this tells us that listening, that's bands, to marriage, and here's the date. A little hard to read, but there it is. So
Would you go to Lindsay's and that and see if you can see her? Is that what you would do?
Oh, let's see. Should I go back? Yeah, so she goes right straight across. It's there. Yeah. Okay. And so, yeah, just extra. They've given you extra.
So Kathleen, could you go from that and look at her marriage record?
You could, yes, you could go to the marriage. Listening is bands. So your date is going to be a little bit different. It's usually about 3 Sundays that they announce that they're going to be married in church for the band. So your date is going to be a little bit different, but it would be close enough you could find it easy.
So where would she have been married? Where, this place or the place that she went to?
This would be in the parish.
Okay.
And the place where she is moving to is actually within the parish.
Okay.
It's not a separate parish. So, and they're usually listed in the bride's parish. If there's,
Okay.
so.
Well, she probably would have gotten, she got married, right? Yeah.
Okay, now so we're continuing to look for Maria. So we'll look at this first one now. because it's probably gonna be the next in line. And when we do, we come over here, it says same household, Charlotte Hendrick's daughter. Well, and Maria John's daughter, does that sound like they ought to be in the same household? Yeah, you look at that, say, what's going on? So let's look at the source and see what's going on. Okay, here it is. This is kind of messed up, but look, Maria John's daughter. But guess what? She's born 1772. And she's the wife of Eric Garrison. And she's the wrong person. But that just goes to show you how many people of the same name, why you have to be just so super careful there. So as we look at it closer, well, here it is. This is the closer one up the top.
They're usually pretty accurate.
Now let's look at the bottom. What?
Are they pretty accurate on their birth dates? Are they pretty accurate on their birth dates, usually?
The birth dates are usually pretty good, especially in the 1800s.
Okay.
Now you get into the 1700s, that's not so. But the 1800s are usually quite good. So, so as we look, we keep going down, and we see here. Oh, here's Charlotta, spelled with an S instead of a C. And they say she's in the same household. Well, no, not necessarily. She just happens to be written in the line underneath, but she's not part of the same. You've got, as we look back, let's look back. You can see that there's just a whole bunch of people that are listed from one line to the next line. They're not necessarily in the same household. So just because the indexer says they are, don't always believe them.
What does Piga mean? Or Piga?
What
What does
that-
Piga mean? Piga. P-I-G. P-I-G.
Pagan means working woman or girl, working girl. And they abbreviate it as pig, which I don't like. But it doesn't mean pig in Sweden, of course.
How do you spell Pigan?
Pigan. Yeah. And drang for a working man. And they abbreviate that as DR. But I remember looking at the records the first time saying, oh, I have so many doctors in this family. So, but, okay, so we find her way down at the bottom. And notice, now this, as you can see, this is a page that's pretty filled up. Well, here's the clerk. What's he gonna do? He wants to show that what has taken place is that Maria, let's see, is she there? No, we're up here. So she wants to show that Maria, that way down at the bottom, has married somebody up at the top. Let's go back and show you that. So here's Maria way down at the bottom, and notice she's got a little number sign by her. And so if we look, try to find a number sign, and here's a number sign next to Jan Erison, and here it says gift, which means married, and they don't quite fill it in, but it's showing that, hey, there should be somebody filled in there. You got to look down at the bottom.
Oh.
So there, and we know that Jan is her first husband, Jan Erison. So we know that one is right. So there's a lot you can learn from this, but sometimes you have to really look at it carefully. Okay, so now let's look at the next, let's look at another record. And okay, what you want to always be sure and do is not skip any of these records. I mean, that's a whole bunch of records to look at. But notice here, notice we've got a little child, we've got a child, Johanna, who is, here's Jan Erison, his wife Maria, John's daughter Peter, and Johanna. If we look at this record, what do you see? What do you think happened? She died, yeah. And as we look we look over here further, here it is, died. You could just barely see that that's giving us the date. Okay, this is the only record she appears in. If you had skipped the record and hadn't noticed that there was a big skip between one child and the next child, see, she's not on here. This is the next record afterwards. She doesn't appear. And you would have to notice that, okay, but between Peter and Maria, there's 4 years, there could be another child.
So what was her name?
She was,
What was she, Joanna?
yeah,
So they had another Joanna.
they have another Johanna.
And if you seen that in the record, you might, where's Ben? Because you didn't think about it.
Yeah.
You didn't see that record.
Those two could easily be mixed up. Or they could just leave out Johanna, the first Johanna entirely. Yeah. So you just have to be really, really careful and make sure that they give you the information. Take the time to look at it. That's important. And take the time to look at the dates and the births and the deaths, as well as just the household records. Okay. Now, here, this indexer just gave up on trying to figure out what these relationships are because they don't have any of them written down. All they have is usually it's written down here. They don't have anything, so they just gave up. So we have to click on the original, and when we click on the original, we get this. Now, here's Carl Johan Carlson. Remember, we think he's the second husband. And here it has stated that she's now a widow.
Oh, she's the end.
But then a spouse, and then here her son was Peter Jansen and Louisa, and they written in Jan's daughter, Jan's daughter, Jan's daughter, Jan's daughter, Jan's daughter, Jan's daughter, to show that they are stepchildren of Carl Johan Carlson. And then here finally,
What showed that they were step?
finally,
Go back last name. Go back one more.
okay, finally we get Carl Gustav Carlson.
What showed that they were step? The line like this?
No, see the names.
So some were Carl's son.
See the name?
Some were Jan's son. Oh, okay.
So they would, if they were her children, they would be Carl. And in fact, look at the bottom, we have a Carlson. So that's going to give us a good opportunity to see, okay, that she's probably married. Her husband probably died somewhere in here between 47 and 52. So that's
So you need a household record that's before 52, around 47 up to find that guy, right?
yeah,
So you
like the previous record. We get the other children. We get some of the other children. We don't get the law. Okay. Okay, so Now, okay, again, we want to look over at the side. And look, we've got moving out, telling us where the parents are moving out to. Moving out to page 222 in the year 53. And this tells us that they paid their taxes the last 3 years and in this place. So in other words, this was where they were living. He was living before and she was living here. He was living in a different parish.
So Hamar is a parish.
So, and then, so we get quite a few of them moving out here. And then over here, I think I've got this bigger. Let's see. No, I don't. Okay, well, we get this listening again. It says listening to listening to marriage with widow Maria John's daughter. See below, and here's the date. And remember, listening are bands, they're not marriage. So you have to look these up. And then listening to the above person, Carl Johan Carlson. And so you look up again for that. So, and then you get one of the children who's also getting married. So you get lots of really, really good information if you just look carefully in the pages. Okay, now, when your chart looks like this is a good time to do descendancy research. And so a good place to start would be here or here. You're back a little ways, but not too far back. And probably it's been done through here. And it has been done through here. So we're going to check out this person. And he has a daughter named Katrina. This is Elias Hendrickson Bjorndal, his wife Britta Maya Martin's daughter, and their daughter Katrina. We've got these others pretty well checked out, but we haven't got Katrina checked out. So let's see if we could find her descendant. It'd be nice if we could find marriage and children for her. So we'll check on her. We've got a birth there. And so we'll go to our index search again. You put just, Katharina can be spelled so many ways. So we're just going to put a CAT. And we're going to put her last name as Bjorndal because otherwise it would be too hard to try to find. So let's try to check and check out her birth date. It's not her, is it? Even though it's the birth date, the name, the last name is wrong. And even though it's the same birthplace. So rather than trying to guess how many different ways you could spell Katrina, we're going to just try using the father's name, because Elias cannot be spelled a whole bunch of different ways, and it's a very uncommon name. So here we put Elias. Bjorndal is uncommon too. Sometimes it's spelled with an HL and sometimes it's just spelled with an L. And that's why I'm putting the asterisk right there so it'll pick up both spellings. And he doesn't have an exact birth. He's back so far that the exact birth date is not given in the household record. So you want to pull up just the year 1769. And here we have Elias Bjorndal, all these birth dates, his birthplace in a couple of times, and then his residential place where they're living. So this looks pretty good. So we could start looking for when Katharina probably was born. And let's look at this one. And we look over here, it's going to give us their names, or we look at the exact. So where's Katharina?
Or is that Casper?
Kaisa.
Kaisa.
Kaisa and Katharina are interchangeable first names or nicknames, we would say. And you could tell because the birth date's the same. So this is, so we could have spelled Katharina 100 different ways and we never would have found her. So if you don't find them, if you don't find the person you're looking for, look for a parent, a brother or sister or something like that. Because usually they're there somewhere. Sometimes it's hard to find, but they're there somewhere. Okay, what else do you see about her?
She's crossed out. Her leg.
She's crossed out and
She
She left. She's not.
right. Look right here. It's in the wrong column. They say this is moving in.
Oh, but there's the DOT.
She didn't, but she's not moving in. Look, this says DOD. And I don't know what this N is for. It wasn't November that she died.
Her birthplace is the same as the one before because of that. She's born in the same place as her brother Henry.
But how can you tell where she died?
Yeah,
When she died? Can you read that?
yeah. So she died at 17. So she's only age, she'd be about 16 years old.
So that's a year.
So we're not gonna find children for her, are we? Or marriage.
But you
But
could
you-
go to Expedia or you could go the other program, you now have a debt date. You could find her on the Expedia, I'm not saying the right thing.
You could find her if we went.
Harriet.
I started with this.
Yeah, we could find her if we were to go back and use that name. But so yeah. Okay. So this is, these spoil you. You know how you used to have to do them, if you don't have the index, what you have to do is you look for the place where they're living and find the little index and then go to and here you've got all of these. So if you were looking, if we didn't know all about Elias Bjørndal, which we do, we would want to look at every one of these because each one of these would give us more different information about him and his family. So let's get to the there. Okay, and here she is again. Let's see.
And now she has a brother. Did she have a brother before?
Okay, here Henrik, notice he's going to Edsburg, that's another parish. So.
May I ask, what is Kalmar?
What?
What is Kalmar? Kalmar?
It's a state, it's a state.
It's a state. Okay.
Like, like Örebro or Värmland or something. Okay, now we're going to look at, if you go to search, what I'm going to show you now is in family search, how you can add records, how you can add household records, all the people in the household, very easy in family search. So you go to family search, you click on search, and when you do, you're gonna get this drop down, which will include records. And so then you click on records. And then you're gonna have this find a collection here and go all the way down to the bottom where it says collection title, and click and write in the name of your state or your land, like Uruguay, Kalmar, something like that. You write that in. And then you'll come to this page and it'll tell you to browse 647,000 indexes. That's not too many. Let's do it. So you click on it. Well, good. We've got parishes listed. So we're going to go to my Carlscope parish and click on it. We go to, we're going to use the household records because that's what we're interested in at this point. And this is what we're interested in, these people. We're going to try to find them so that we can add them to the, add their source. And when we go to the household record, we find a whole bunch of them. But we pick out it tells us which one we want. We back in that other index. And then once you've picked out that, it's going to give you this. Here's the house, here's the beginning. It's telling you this is a household record. And this is image 1. Okay, so we want to, okay, so we don't know for sure what image it is, but we do know what page it is. Okay, it's page 130. And when we, let's see, I think I need to go back a little bit to show you what it is. Okay, so when we go back here, we know that we want to look for on page 131. And then we also get the year. And this one is taken from Archive Digital. I took this record from Archive Digital rather than from Riksarkivet. And notice that you always get, it's really nice because they always put this up at the top, which is your exact source that you could go to find it. And so they're telling us here then that we want A1 number 18 for these years. We want image 139, page 131. And if you think you can't remember it, you write it down. So then that's going to tell us what we need to look for as we get into these next records. So we do 18. We know the image we want. And even though the image isn't going to be exactly the same on family search, it's generally worth looking at because it's probably close. And when we get there, we find, let's see. Okay, we find we're on page 130. We've looked at image 139. We're on page 130. We want 131. So easy enough to go forward a page And there we are, page 131. And so then we get all these people. And so then we found them. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up to the top. Now we're back in family search. Okay, we went to Arctic Digital, we're back in family search. And we pull up the record. And then right up at the top, you're gonna see attached to tree. And so if you click on attached to tree, here's what you get. You fill this out. Now they are going to give you a source. And I really don't like their sources. They're just full of numbers. They don't have any meaning at all. So I like to make up my own. And I just put Sweden, Örebro court records and so forth. And then you're going to have to put the source date in, and then you describe the record. And let's see. I thought I had put this down somewhere. Okay, so it's not meaningful. I write my own, something like Karlskoga, Örebro, Sweden, household records, so forth. That gives you information. Then you're going to put your date here. And you write a description. This is what I wrote. This shows Elias Björndal, his wife Britta Maya Martin's daughter, and their children. And their birth dates and places are recorded. Henrik is crossed out with a note. He went to Edsbury Parish. Kais is crossed out with a note. She died probably in 1817. I like to give a good description. You give a good one, Heather, because it's for people that really want to know. And so
And then it attached.
it looks like we're out of time. Here's a good, very good site if you're interested in going to it. And very quickly, some books at the Family History Center that are really excellent. This is new. It's only about a year old. It's Jeffrey Pilgrim Morris. He wrote, he's done this one, so excellent genealogies. This one is very good because it's into the parishes. But lots of times you'll find a name, like you find civil, you don't know whether it's a parish or it's a small place. If this is a parish,
Thank you.
looks like we're
Thank you so much.
so I'll be glad to help any of you that want to help. Just give me a call. Did you get the little paper that it had a little bit?
What I can now, make an appointment.
Wonderful appointments.
So good luck. He's happy to have Swedish accents.
Yeah.